The narrative begins with a voice explaining that the natives of the Amazon rainforest call it Sukuri, a giant crawling creature that lives in swamps, a legendary monster that inspires fear and respect. In some appearances, they are silent, but in their fury, the air and the ground tremble wherever they pass, leaving a trail of destruction and terror. They have no claws nor monstrous roars, but their presence is felt by everyone who approaches. The voice says that such a beast, when it attacks, does not always devour its prey. Instead, it entwines them in its muscles and quickly suffocates them to death, leaving an unrecognizable corpse. Afterwards, it drops it as if it were merely dry leaves on the ground, a sign of contempt and indifference. The narrator expresses his anxiety in speaking about this monster, warning that many disregarded such danger and met an end faster than the blink of an eye. Entire families vanished upon encountering such a creature. Hunters who crossed the swamps were also caught off guard and devoured in a terrible manner, and he states that this beast waits for its moment as a hunter, and then its prey has its end decreed, an inevitable and fatal destiny. Next, a news broadcast is presented to the viewer, in which it is reported about the arrest of a professor and researchers who were playing God. They conducted unauthorized genetic experiments on animals, and there was a risk of dangerous contamination for humans. The experiments aimed at mutations in animals and providing rapid growth, an ambitious and dangerous objective. For some, only the imprisonment of the scientists was not something pleasant and caused disturbances and acts of vandalism in public places, a predictable reaction given the gravity of the accusations without further clarification to society. The scene changes and we see Annabelle Thor, one of the scientists, who is in hiding, and it is noticeable that she is frightened by something, with a pale face and wide eyes. She records a video message and prays that such a file reaches the recipient, a message of desperation and plea. In it, she recounts that she narrowly escaped, referring to a disturbed man, perhaps the professor who played God. Annabelle can hear him walking through the laboratory corridors, but in the video, she states that such a man never intended to become a bad person, a justification that does not convince, since he became unhinged because his research was unexpectedly halted. She also says that people are being detained, but with the objective of hiding something frightening, a secret that can change everything. The scientist, lamenting, speaks about the danger of one of the modified creatures and warns that conventional sedation will not stop the beast that is loose, a warning that echoes like a cry of alert. In the video, external screams can be heard, and she says goodbye, believing that her end is near, a farewell that seems like a final goodbye. The scene shifts to two young men who are in a van stopped on the road, Marty and Marcos, both workers from the mad professor's laboratory. The younger one, Marcos, questions where they are, but his friend Marty reassures him, saying he needed to transport the cargo to the dock so as not to be fired, an excuse for his attitude. Marcos questions him whether what they are carrying is something so valuable to risk their professional careers, a question that echoes in both of their minds. Then Marty says that the cargo is a genetically modified serpent, a revelation that changes everything. While the two smile and joke with each other, they hear something in the back of the van, a sound that makes their blood run cold. They believe that the tranquilizer is wearing off, so they need to get a new dose and inject it into the animal, a desperate attempt to keep the beast under control. Marty goes to the back of the van, but upon opening the door, he notices that the compartment that housed the modified species was forcibly opened, a sign that something is wrong. This leaves the young man frightened, as he could not lose something so valuable. The creature did not move away and is still there watching the man, a terrifying presence to the eyes of whoever sees it. As it approaches him, we learn what the creature is: a large serpent that grew in a disproportionate manner, a monster that defies imagination. Marcos, upon hearing a scream, goes out to check, but ends up being the second victim of the snake, a fate that could have been avoided. The scene changes to another location in England. It is already morning. We meet Harley, who is waiting for her friends in the car, a moment of tranquility that soon turns into surprise. Due to the delay, she decides to enter the restaurant owned by one of her friends, but ends up being surprised by a surprise party. The friends are Mona, Jade, Vanessa, Tatum, and Millie. The friends planned a trip to celebrate their friend's birthday, and when Harley asks where to, Jade says it is something related to nature, a secret that will soon be revealed. Then they all head off for the adventure, a group of young women full of life and joy. They travel along a road where there is no longer any cell phone signal, a sign that they are entering unknown territory. By coincidence, the road is the same where the young men were, but now only the van is there, a sign that something is wrong. One of them approaches to see if there is anyone, but when she gets closer, she realizes that the vehicle is empty, an emptiness filled with fear. The group of friends continues the trip, and further ahead, arrives at the cabin where a couple is sheltered. They ask for information about the cabin they are looking for, and the woman guides them, a gesture of kindness seen by the adventurers. However, before leaving, the man warns the young women to be careful, since when he went hunting, he found groups of disfigured rabbits along the way, indicating that some fierce predator is in the region, a warning that echoes like a cry of alert. Harley thanks him, and then they leave. A group of young women who will soon find themselves face to face with terror. The young women continue for kilometers ahead and arrive at the desired area, an isolated and tranquil place. They leave the car on the road and follow a trail into the forest, a path that leads them to the heart of terror. Minutes later, they reach a large clearing and cross it slowly, talking and joking with each other, a moment of contagious joy among them. Smiling and commenting about the end of Jade's relationship with her former boyfriend, a subject that soon becomes irrelevant. They walk following Tatum's guidance, the young woman most familiar with nature, who takes charge of leading them to the desired destination. Tatum claims to know the way for sure, as she studied the map several times before leaving, analyzing every detail. The group is excited and full of expectations, but suddenly, Mona hears a suspicious noise nearby, a strange sound that makes her alert. She tries to locate the source of the sound, but sees nothing around, only the vastness of the forest. Without them noticing, something watches them attentively, hidden in the shadows. After a long and tiring walk, they arrive at the group of cabins, which is actually a vacation camp in the middle of the forest, an isolated and tranquil place. The place seems empty, as if they were alone in the world, just them and nature. They had already reserved the place and prepare to stay, eager to relax and have fun. At night they have fun, drinking and celebrating another year of Harley's life with music and toasts, an improvised party that makes them forget their problems. Meanwhile, a creature watches them stealthily nearby, its eyes shining in the darkness. Later at dawn, Mona wakes up to a noise and goes out to investigate. She observes a can of drink emptying, but thinks it is normal. Then she decides to move away from the cabin to look for cell phone signal, needing a connection with the outside world. Fortunately, she finds a spot with signal, but when she illuminates the path ahead, she comes face to face with the terrible modified creature, a monster that makes her freeze in fear. The serpent attacks her quickly, sealing her fate in a tragic manner. At dawn, the friends wake up and have breakfast. However, when Harley goes to deliver a portion to her friend Mona, she realizes that she is not among them. The friends become worried and begin to look for her in the forest, moving away from the camp surroundings. Jade calls out for her, but there is no sign of Mona. In a certain place, they only find a dry snake skin, something far too large for native snakes of the region. Not finding their friend, they return to the cabin and bring the snake skin with them, questioning its unusual size. This does not worry the young women, since in their minds they think of the man from the cabin earlier, who may be the culprit for Mona's disappearance. Deductions are made, but nothing conclusive. Then Tatum and Harley decide to go to the vehicles and find a way to call the authorities. They prepare and leave shortly after. On the way back, Tatum laments the situation and, fearing that something bad has happened to her friend, blames herself. Harley calms her and asks her to continue. However, a little further ahead, they smell something rotten and end up coming across human bones. There is an identification badge showing that it is a woman who worked at the laboratory previously mentioned at the beginning. Suddenly, they hear movement in the vegetation. Fearing it may be a dangerous creature, they run. Unfortunately, Tatum falls down a hill and hurts herself a little, spraining her ankle. It does not take long for the giant creature to approach and take advantage of the opportunity to attack such easy prey. Tatum screams, but her screams do not prevent her fate. Harley goes down the hill by the lower side to help her friend, but ends up encountering a lamentable scene. The modified serpent is crushing her friend's body to death. Meanwhile, the other friends wait for their return. Millie tries to get signal on her device and call her mother, but has no luck. It does not take long for Harley to arrive and warn her companions about the danger and the large creature that is in the forest. For a moment they try to digest the shocking information, not believing in their friend's death. Knowing that, if they stay there, they will become the next victims, they plan to leave as quickly as they can. They grab their belongings and leave together, believing they will be safe as a group. They walk attentively and reflect on the size of the serpent, as they believe that there could not exist in the region a crawling animal larger than 2 meters. Harley says that it was much larger than the dry skin they found earlier. She also talks about the badge found and about the laboratory. Jade then says that she heard about it and says that there they conducted experiments on small animals, but the authorities raided the place and arrested everyone. They discover that the place is less than 2 hours from where they are and fear the modified creature. Remembering the vehicle they found off the road, they recall that there was an open box inside, certain that there was something recreated in a laboratory, but that they lost control of it and it escaped on its own. Fearing the mutant snake creature, they continue walking back to their cars. However, in the middle of the path, they feel that they are being watched, but do not notice the creature behind them. On the return trail, they come across another skin and understand that the serpent sheds its skin as it grows in size, and this shows that the creature will grow even more. Suddenly, Millie points to the dense vegetation, and they all see the large serpent, which smells them as indispensable prey. Terrified, they run in desperation. After descending a small hill, Vanessa ends up stumbling and falls behind. Unfortunately, when she stands up, it is already too late. The large snake surrounds her and attacks her fiercely. The friends hear the screams but can do nothing. They continue the path, but due to stress and fear, they get lost for a while. Fortunately, they change course and head in the direction of the couple's cabin from earlier. They run there and call out to the couple, but unfortunately, it is already too late for the man, who has already become a victim of the creature. The serpent soon approaches the cabin and forces the young women to enter the place and lock the door. The colossal snake moves away for a moment, giving the young women time to breathe in relief. However, the woman is still alive inside the bedroom, and the young women help clean her wounds. Millie asks about a landline telephone, but the woman called a line says there is no signal. Harley goes out to check if all the windows are locked, ensuring that nothing enters the house. Minutes later, while everything is calm, they observe the large serpent circling the cabin, not allowing any of them to leave to seek help. It also looks for a weak point in the property to penetrate calmly. The friends inside discuss their situation and know that if they remain there, they will be attacked soon and will have no chance trapped inside. Harley talks about the couple's car and intends to flee in it, but someone must be the distraction to lure the creature away. She herself volunteers to be the bait and says how she will do it, hoping it works and that her friends run over the serpent and pick her up along the way. They hope that everything will go well, so they prepare and follow the plan. However, when saying goodbye to her friend, Jade throws herself outside and becomes the bait in Harley's place. Jade screams and soon attracts the creature. Then the friends get into the car and follow the plan, but the vehicle does not start. A line goes out to check the engine, but is surprised by a baby serpent, which attacks her and leaves her lying on the ground. Back to Jade, she manages to reach another cabin and locks herself inside. Meanwhile, Harley leaves the car and finds the woman lying down. But to make matters worse, when she looks inside the vehicle, she sees the serpent about to attack her friend. She laments, knowing that she can do nothing else, and only watches the inevitable attack before running away terrified. Nearby, Jade jumps out of the window and meets Harley outside. But unfortunately, before they escape, Jade is grabbed by the legs and dragged into the darkness of the forest. Harley runs and reaches the van off the road, and there, hearing her friend's screams, decides to grab some tools and try to help Jade. A few hours later, the first rays of sunlight appear, and Jade, fortunately, is alive. However, the creature is still guarding its prey to devour it later. The young woman screams in panic and tries to crawl away. Fortunately, Harley hears the screams and arrives in time. She soon strikes the serpent on the head with a hammer and leaves it unconscious. Hours later, still lost, they end up finding a snake nest where there are many eggs and a large serpent protecting them. Harley cautiously pours gasoline around. Soon the mutant creature rises and turns against them. Fortunately, the young woman is prepared and sets fire to the fuel, burning the serpent completely and destroying its eggs. Unfortunately, the other creature is still alive and tries to attack Jade. Quickly, Harley strikes it again and drives it away, having the opportunity to escape once more. However, this time, the beast is fast and separates the young women. Jade throws the can of fuel to her friend, who makes an improvised Molotov cocktail and throws it at the serpent's mouth. With the explosion, the beast is destroyed and finally dies. This makes the friends happy, but Jade was injured and is fainting. Harley tries to encourage her friend to leave there. Then she carries her in her arms to the road. However, they did not manage to destroy all the eggs, and with only one remaining, it soon hatches, bringing to life the newest venomous beast,